Hello chess friends and welcome to Jozarov's chess channel and welcome to my special video. It's about a very nice chess friend. It's about Jurica Srbiš. You may see him playing against me on some streams and he always kicks my butt in chess, but the most important thing is that Jurica Srbiš has become an international master in chess. So Jurica is really cool guy and he's basically grandmaster level, although he's now an international master. But when we met in Zagreb 1 year ago on a tournament, I told him that he really plays like a grandmaster, and I think in the future he'll be a grandmaster for sure. It's gonna happen maybe in the next month, 2 months, half a year. It doesn't matter. I think really Jurica is grandmaster level. But the more important thing, and this is now a very important thing about chess, that Jurica has also finished his college. He has graduated from his college, and that's even more important. And the funny thing is that it happened the same day. So he finished his college and he became international master. I think it was really one of Jurica's best days in life. But I know Jurica now many years, and I think he would have become even a grandmaster much earlier, or even an international master. But he had to learn, he had to finish his college, and that's a really important story for all of us chess players, because of course we cannot all be Magnus Carlsen, Hikaru, Fabiano Caruana, and all of these top grandmasters, which are really earning some money with chess. For those who are playing maybe an international grandmaster level, it's still hard to earn some money with chess, and that's why it's most important to finish your school, to make a college, to make at least some normal living. Then you can really focus on chess, which Jurica now really did, and he finished it. And I think now Jurica can really start to play some active chess, because he had to learn, he had to study much during his weeks, during his weekends, so he didn't have any free time. So that's why I think in the next months we can also see Jurica with these two magic letters G and M. So today I wanted to show you a very nice game he played this year in the Croatian Cup final, and he played against the Grandmaster, Croatian's Grandmaster Zoran Jovanovic. And that's why I think really that Jurica is a grandmaster level. You see what he did in this game. He didn't allow Zoran Jovanovic to breathe in this game. He really played this boa constrictor, but it's not a boring boa constrictor. It's really aggressive. He didn't leave Zoran Jovanovic any counterplay, and he had a really nice and deserved win. So let's see what happened here in the game. We have d4 by Jurica, d6, knight on f3, and now g6. We have the King's Indian. Jurica still has here a flexible game. He can transpose in some normal paired setups, or to go into the classical line of the King's Indian. And here he chose this G3 variation, which can transpose into this Carlsbad variation of the King's Indian, which is a good line to play against the King's Indian. It can be really annoying because, of course, black is doing his fianchetto, you're as white doing your fianchetto. Still, you're always one move up as white. You can make some progress with c4. You have many possible moves here. And here, after bishop on g7, bishop on g2, knight on c6 was played. And this is now a common idea. It's sort of a modern defense setup, and I like this move immediately when black plays e5, because you have now occupied this center, this very important e5 square 3 times with the knight, with the bishop, and with the pawn on e5. So a potential e5 pawn breakthrough would be possible. And here Jurica simply castled, because there are some tactical lines after potential e5 here on the d file. And here after knight on f6, well, this e5 move is not so powerful anymore, because you see in the continuation of the game that Jurica will not play this common move e4. That's common for a classical setup of this King's Indian, of this orthodox lines. That can sometimes happen. Here, after knight on f6, simple c4 was played. After castling, we have knight on c3, and now we have e5 by Zoran Jovanovic. But this is now huge difference. If you have the e4 pawn, then this e5 move is really aggressive. Then after potential, if you have played here maybe e4 or something, then after e5, white would be basically forced to play moves as d5, because in order to get a very nice central control with the pawns. Here you see Jurica didn't play the move e4, and here after e5, well, this is now always the problem. You can play the simple exchange variation in the center, and Jurica made that with the move d takes e5. We have d takes e5, and now bishop on g5. So you see, if a potential queen takes on d1, after rook takes on d1, white has finished the development. Still we have some possibilities after bishop on f6 to play a very nice and powerful outpost on d5. So many tactical possibilities here for white, and white is simply faster here. You don't have also very good square for the bishop. Still you have the c7 weakness. We have control of the d4 square. So you see, after here, as I said, Jurica didn't play this move e4, so that's why this exchange variation in the center is really now bothering black a little bit here after the move bishop on g5. And here bishop on e6 was played, and Jurica played now a very nice move, queen on c1. This is a very nice prepared line that Jurica has played here. Let's see what happened if you take bishop on c4. So it seems that you can take this pawn, but it's really not so, because it's really tricky line. Then you get knight on d2, and where to go with the bishop. If you play bishop on e6, then you get knight on e4 immediately, and if you try something like you see h6 in order to kick away the bishop, well, still we can play rook on d1. You're forced to play with the queen on e7, and here we can simply take knight takes on f6 after bishop takes on f6. Here bishop takes on f6, queen takes on f6, and now even bishop on c6, which will weaken the pawn structure on the queen side immediately. After b takes c6, we have queen takes on h6, and this is now a perfect position for white. We have some targets here, these weak pawns. Although you don't have anymore the light square bishop, there are some weaknesses here, maybe on h3, g2, but you can handle this with the pawn setup here with f3 or g4 and kick away this bishop. Still we have some possibilities: knight on e4, knight on g5, and even checkmate threats. So black would be forced here to trade off the queens, which favors white. Of course, the position gets more simplified, and as I said, we have the simple targets, these weak pawns on the queen side, and this e5 could be also target. So after queen on c1, queen on c8 was played by Zoran Jovanovic, getting out of this nasty pin here that Jurica has played, and here rook on d1. And you see this rook will be a monster rook, because it's really important to occupy these open files. As said, it's not easy to compete with this rook on the d file, because if you take again back with the queen on d8, then you get the pin again. So the rook on d1, perfect move here, and here knight on d7 played by Zoran Jovanovic. After rook on d1, if you take bishop on c4 again, it's not good, because then you have bishop takes on f6, bishop takes on f6, and now knight on e4 is really powerful. After bishop takes on e2, you see we have discovered attack on both of the bishops. Then you can simply take knight takes on f6, king on g7, and here knight on h5. Very nice move, g takes h5, and now queen on g5 is really dangerous. King on h8, and now queen on f6. King on h8 is a forced line, but now knight on g5. Black is really paralyzed here, because you cannot compete anymore with the queen. You cannot trade off the queens and simplify the position. If you play something like knight on e7, then you get queen on h6, and you're basically forced to bring the queen into the defense. But now you have a very nice move, bishop on e4, and it's game over here for black. So that's why I see this rook on d1 again doesn't leave black the possibility to take this pawn on c4. So I see Jurica has prepared here really tricky lines for the Grandmaster Zoran Ivanovic. That's why here knight on d7, still black cannot take this pawn. Now Jurica played knight on d5. Very important move, because we have created now a very powerful outpost. If you take, then this pawn gets here to d5 and supported by this rook. Again, you don't have good squares to go with your knight. Basically, you're forced to go back with your knight on b8 because you could have some troubles here after b4. It's also hard to play with the knight, so you probably lose the knight here. So here Jurica, although the computer evaluation is slightly better for white, but from a human perspective, here Jurica has a very powerful game. He has gained some space. He has all of these pieces are on natural squares. All of the pieces are in attacking formation, which is the most important thing. And here Zoran Ivanovic tried at least to kick away one particular piece here, the bishop f6, in order to kick away this bishop on g5. Here bishop on e3, Jurica stays active with this bishop, although of course the bishop was the best place here on g5, but still we are controlling now a very important square here, the d4. So the knight, the rook and the bishop are really controlling this powerful square. Still Jurica has a very nice central control, and here rook on e8 was played by Zoran Ivanovic. h4, very interesting idea, because you see that the black has weakened now a little bit the pawn structure around the king. So this h4 is a very nice attacking move, of course, with the preparation to play the move h5 to create some weaknesses even more in black's camp. And here rook knight on d8 was played. a4, now Jurica paralyzes also a little bit the queen side with the move a4. We are not allowing any outposts here. Knight on c5 with the preparation, maybe with b6, because we can play simple b4. Also with a5 and a6 we could even more stop the dynamics on the queen side. We could really paralyze even the queen side. And you see black's pieces, they are a little bit in the crowded situation. They are not good. They are not playing not freely like Jurica's pieces here. Here a4, also a very important positional move. Now the spider Jurica makes this net here. It's really a ball constrictor game. Black is really out of game here. So c6 was played again with the idea to kick away some pieces, but you see, while black is kicking away some more pieces, he weakens even more the pawn structure. He weakens even more the position. He creates more and more holes in the game, which Jurica will of course use. Here after knight on c3, knight on f7 was played, and here knight on e4. This is now a very important move which controls a very important square, d6 here. So this knight is a little bit paralyzed to the defense of this very important d6 square. Queen on c7, you see finally now Zoran Ivanovic brings the queen on a natural square. On c8 it was not such a natural square for the queen. And now a5, again gaining some space, not allowing black to breathe, not allowing black to play a counterplay. And here f5. Okay, it comes with an attack, but here Jurica can really reload a little bit on the square g5 because he has a very nice control of the square. So that's why knight from e to g5, knight takes on g5, knight takes on g5, and white can take this bishop in the next move. But Jurica will stay patient here in the game, which is important because this bishop is out of game. So when you evaluate your pieces, you have a very powerful knight. This is a bad bishop, so of course you will not trade your powerful knight for this bishop. At least you're waiting this move h6 to come, then you will trade off this bishop, because then black would do some weaknesses on like squares. That's why very nice and calm game here by Jurica. Knight on g5 after e4. Not immediately take this bishop, just wait. If the position changes, if the pawn structure changes, then we'll take this bishop out. So h5, creating even more weaknesses on the king side. You see Jurica create double flank attack, which can be sometimes dangerous to play double flank attacks, because you could get counterattacked in the center. But the good thing is that Jurica controls the center with the rook on the d file, with the bishop on e3, with the queen. Although the queen is a little bit out of game, but at least we are controlling a very nice diagonal here. Knight on e5 was played, and now very powerful move h6, creating even more statics in black's position. Bishop takes on f6. If you try something like bishop takes on h6, let's see the continuation, it's game over, because you can simply take the bishop. If after bishop in e3 we can take the queen, bishop takes on c1, but now rook takes on c1, and in the next move black will lose a rook, so that's of course a completely winning endgame here for white. So h6, that's why bishop on f6 was played, and now b3. Now finally we are fixing this c4 pawn, because it was attacked twice by these pieces. Knight on g4 played by Zoran Ivanovic, and now of course bishop on f4. We are not allowing any counterplay here. Bishop on e5, bishop takes on e5, queen takes on e5, and here comes a very interesting idea, bishop on h3. So the idea is, if you play something like rook from a to d8, we can simply play rook takes on d8, rook takes on d8, but now bishop takes on g4. So after f takes g4, you see this bishop is really out of game, because it's blocked out by its own pawns. We can play a blockade against this bishop. If the position changes, of course we have to trade first off the queens, but this knight is very well placed. We have a e4 weakness, so this will be also very interesting game for white. I don't think that black has counterplay here. White is simply better, because this bishop is basically a pawn in black's camp. So that's why knight on f6. Again, Jurica is forcing black to go back on the other side of the board, and continues simply to attack with the move queen on e3. This is also a very important idea, because in order to fix the position, we are trying to play the move f4 to get a very nice outpost here of this knight on g5, in order to support more this knight on g5. But with the potential f4, of course, black cannot take e takes f4, because of a very nice positional pin here. So that's why queen on e3 also a top grandmaster move. So knight on d7 played by Ivanovic, and now rook on a2. Of course, we want to double up the rooks on the d file. Knight on f8 was played, and now comes this move f4. Queen on c7 had to be played, and now queen on c3. Jurica wants to have a very nice activity of the rooks, but if he leaves the a file, of course this a5 pawn is hanging. So we want to play freely with our rooks and really occupy this open file. That's the only file that's open here, the d files. So that's why he has to compete it. So now finally Zoran Ivanovic plays on the d file. Now we have rook on d2, rook takes on d2, rook takes on d2, bishop on c8, and rook on d6. Very interesting idea by Jurica, because of course you cannot take, and you see how important it was to create this very nice flank attack, because you have now checkmate threats on g7. So this queen on c3 had a double function, with an attack, with a defense, and that's how a grandmaster plays. So although Jurica is not grandmaster, but I promise you, in the next couple of months, or at least half a year, Jurica will be grandmaster. So here, after rook on d6, c5 was played, and now queen on f6, and you see how well placed these white pieces are. They're all in attacking formation. This knight is controlling very powerful squares. This queen is very near to the king. This rook is on the 6th rank. This bishop, of course, it's a little bit blocked out. So in order to get a perfect attack, we want to bring this bishop also into the game. So you see now how tricky Jurica does it. Here, after rook on e7 was played, he plays now the move a6. This move a6 is directly connected to this bishop on h3, because you see why here. After rook on e8 we have now a takes b7. If you try something like b takes a6, that's really bad, because then you have rook on c6, a tactical idea here, queen on d8, and then we can take. After takes we can take this here, and we have also checkmate threat. So again, it's game over here for black. So that's why after a6 rook on e8 was played, and now comes this idea a takes b7. Bishop takes on b7, and you see how Jurica brings the bishop into the game, and now he can play the move g4. Now he can really crack open the position, open the diagonal for the bishop, and then he will have all of his pieces in really attacking shape. So bishop on c8, we have of course g takes f5, bishop takes on f5, bishop takes on f5, g takes f5, queen takes f5, and again you cannot take queen on d6, because then you get queen on f7, and it's a checkmate here on g7. So that's why after queen on f5 e3 was played, but now simple queen on d5, king on h8, rook on f6, and in this position Zoran Jovanovic resigned, because if you try something like rook on c8, move something, then well, knight on f7, very tricky. King on g8 has to be played. Then you get knight on d8 with this discover check. So basically you're forced to move the king again, but now rook on f8, and it's game over. So there are many tactical possibilities. Whatever black does here, he's really lost here. As I said, in this position Zoran Jovanovic resigned. So I said, congratulations Jurica for this international master title, but that's not the last station of your path. I think we'll have you with these two magic letters GM in the future, and of course you deserve it, because you're a really great guy, and I'm really happy that you also finished your college degree, which is even more important than this international master level, because well, this college degree that you have, that's for life, that's important in life. The chess title is of course important, but it's important in chess, in playing chess. That's why I congratulate you for both of these very nice successes, and as said, don't mess up. You have to be the grandmaster in the future. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this game, and we'll follow some other maybe Croatian players or even more talented players in the future. You can also watch my nephew's video, from my previous nephew's video. He played a very nice game against Garry Kasparov in a simultaneous game, and I think it was a really tough game for him, but he handled for 40 and something moves against the top grandmaster Garry Kasparov. And you can also subscribe to my channel if you like my content, and thanks you for watching, guys, and chess is the best, of course.